right, folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents Tales of the Trophies, Season 5, Best of the Rest. I'm Mike with EJ. How's it going, pal?
F Better. I've been fighting a cold.
Oh,
This is luckily been the best that I've felt,
good.
and sound
Yeah.
because if we were to recorded yesterday or even 2 days ago, I would have sounded terrible and probably coughed the entire time.
You got that nice like Phoebe in Friends when she had like the real sultry. You got that going on right now, which is nice.
Yeah, yesterday it was like real, like, hey, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Gravelly, too
Yeah,
gravelly. Too
yeah,
much too much smoker, not enough. Yeah. Not
yeah.
yeah.
Today we're in a much better spot today.
Good man. Good. I'm glad you're on the mend. Glad you're
Um,
on the mend. And I mean, what a great day to be sick, though. If you had to just couldn't really do much, sit around the house, boy, oh boy,
it
what a Saturday you
okay.
picked.
It played into my advantage here.
Yeah,
Just
look around a little bit. Let's see
well,
how loud I
we
can
we
sing.
we had some plans for Saturday morning. Is your favorite place in the world, the zoo? Um,
Ah, yes, yeah,
because we literally live at the zoo.
yeah.
Um, and I was not feeling so great, so I got to stay at home. And here's an even I don't want to derail this too much, but this has to be said. This is a new epiphany I had.
Hmm.
I have every subscription like subscription for streaming subscription.
Yeah. Hmm.
Beside one, I have not ever had Apple TV.
Okay, okay. You have like
So
Paramount Plus.
everything,
Wow. Okay,
Paramount
that's
Plus,
yeah.
yes. Well, because and that's actually funny you say that because we one of the few shows actually probably outside of sports, there's only like two shows that we watch live, or try to, and it's Survivor. And so CBS is
Yeah,
Paramount.
tabs. Yeah.
So that has come
Yeah.
in clutch when we have missed Survivor and watched it. But Apple TV. So because we got new iPhones, finally I'm upgraded from an iPhone 11, but I'm proud of that 11.
11. I
Yeah,
would not be proud of that.
because I don't want to pay for the stupid cell phone, right? Like I don't want to pay for the cell phone. If my phone works and it's paid off, give
Yeah,
me
but
half of
what was your
my.
battery life like? I mean, like you
It
had
was
to
it
charge
was a
your phone
fight.
every 4 hours.
No, I as soon as it hits 85, you go into low power mode, and I could get most. I could probably get to 7 o'clock ish at night, flirting with the 20s. But if I just had it on a charger during the day, just a little spurts here and there, um, I survived,
Holy
man.
smokes, dude. What
No,
a
it was to a
what a
point
way
where my
to live.
port didn't work, so I could only use.
Hmm.
I couldn't use my Apple CarPlay because ours
Hmm.
you have to plug in. It's not Bluetooth. It's not wireless.
Oh my gosh.
So I couldn't could do Apple
Oh
CarPlay.
my gosh.
I had to have a pad to charge my phone, and then the real problem was pictures. That's what did it for me. My phone wouldn't focus when I tried to take pictures. It was just
Dude,
yeah. So anyway,
11.
I got a new iPhone, which means 90 days of free Apple TV.
Hmm. Hmm.
So let me tell you, I actually highly recommend this for anyone. Hold out one of those streaming subscriptions. Just one. Pick one. Netflix, Hulu, Max, or now it's HBO again. They want the name. I don't know why they left it.
Yeah,
Apple
yeah.
TV, whatever it is. Hold one back because boy, let me tell you, I am binging Severance because it's
Oh
been
yeah,
something
there you
I've
go.
wanted
Right,
to
right.
watch
Hmm.
for forever. Kelly and I are watching Ted Lasso. It's a treasure trove. I'm so excited. Silo has been
Yeah.
on my list for a while because I love sci-fi. Rebecca Ferguson, I'm in. So that's without even talking about some of the studio and the morning show. You have all these things. This
Oh,
was like
well, yeah. See, that's the thing, though. Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean, the
Christmas.
reason why I didn't pull the trigger on that, like, obviously, Ted Lasso is great. Severance is like you hear great things about them, but like,
Oh, it's
I never
fantastic,
pulled the
man.
trigger because I heard the morning show was trash, and like
That's
some of
fine.
the other stuff that came out was just trash. So I've never pulled the trigger on because, But to your point, yeah, like we still have a healthy backlog of things that like we can go through. Um,
It's like
so that's why we
Christmas, dude.
haven't, yeah, and we haven't done Paramount either. And
Yeah.
I want to
Okay.
watch all the Yellowstone spinoffs, but like, when will I have time to do that?
Yeah.
Right. So,
Well, that's the thing. It's like, especially if it's a show for Kelly and I, it takes a long time to get through because well, it's just usually like if I'm watching a show, I usually get like an hour at the end of the night, type deal.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So because I was sick, I was able to binge in that morning up until Farmageddon, about 5 episodes of Severance, and
Wow.
like, oh
That's
yeah,
pretty solid.
I'm a binger, dude. I can't
Yeah.
help it. Like tonight, I'm gonna watch a couple more. I'm
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
an illness. I can't help it.
Yeah.
But it's
Uh,
also a fantastic show, and I'm like super excited about it.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. That's
So hold out. I recommend if
yeah,
you guys, anyone, just if you guys are one of those ones, or you and your wife, you and your significant other, whatever it may be, yourself, and you kind of hit a rut on what to watch, just whoa,
pull the trigger.
just withhold yourself from one of the streaming services, let it build up, because I'd say every streaming service has a good core of shows that I could
Sure.
recommend for each
You
one.
have to.
And if you
Yeah.
have 4 or 5 of them kind of built up, and if
You
some
can
of those have
just
multiple seasons, oh boy, it's
yeah.
like Christmas, man. It's
the
like
the best
unwrapping the
time to do
gift.
it's probably beginning of summer, right? Like or
Yeah.
whenever like we watch the Chicago series on NBC, right? So like whenever that ends, then we can rip through whatever else that we have to do. Now we got Wednesday on Netflix. We start watching Poker Face on
Okay.
Peacock with Natasha Leone. So like we started doing that. So we're gonna try to get through, I think, probably the first season of Poker Face and then get to Wednesday.
We like
There's
that
some
one.
other stuff that's coming out. So
Poker Face. We liked that one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
good.
been pretty
I like
solid. Yeah.
Leone too.
Uh-huh.
She's very talented. So
Yeah. Nah, yeah. So sorry, that was a PSA. I'm all in on Severance, and then but like I said, it was like Christmas. It was like, oh, Kelly, like Severance isn't probably your thing, and there's no way I would be able to wait for her with
no,
this. So it's better if
yeah,
I just plow ahead. But I was like, Ted Lasso, let's do this. They're 30 minutes. They're quick and easy. But then I was like kind of scrolling through, and it's like, oh, Silo, that's something I really wanted to watch, and
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
just started to get excited about the possibilities. But it's funny because now I have like a limit. I'm not going to pay
yeah,
for it. So I got
yeah,
3 months free. But
yeah.
then I think Kelly has 90 days to activate hers. So we can really get a solid six
You
months
have
here
a
for you.
while to act, and like they
Uh-huh.
give it away for like anything. Like
Yeah.
there's this there's these guys that do mashups that like I used to listen to. I used to have everything downloaded, but then
Mhm.
like they're not on Spotify. I just like randomly checked. They're on Apple Music. Like, I
Oh,
checked their website because I was gonna like download all their stuff again. It's been years. They're on Apple Music. So I started a Apple Music subscription free, 90 days. I don't know if it's what I got whenever I upgraded my phone last summer or whatever, but I'm just listening to it till I get sick of it. And then like I'm just strictly listening to that. And then eventually after 90 days I'll probably be sick of it. So I
it's the
can
way to go.
cancel the subscription at least for a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So
All right.
but yeah, well, welcome to streaming talk, our
Uh,
new streaming segment of
yes. I
yeah,
mean, we have honestly so much to talk about.
we do have a lot to talk about. Yes.
Because we have so many things to talk about football wise.
How
We have
many people how many people asked you this weekend? Well, I guess you were sick on the couch, but like for me, I went to like a birthday party on yesterday. And I was like, so many people asked me like, wait, like, is this now is or like even during the work week actually, people are like, wait, so like college football like starts this weekend? Like, is it everything? I'm like, well, it's week zero, so like I just had to explain week zero to just so many people. But like that's what I also get. Like I have the reputation of being the college football guy. So I had to explain everything, explain why Farmageddon in Dublin is such a cool thing, why you should watch Stanford, Hawaii, why you should the UNLV Idaho State game was actually super compelling. All that stuff. It was quite a weekend.
well,
Quite a weekend. Quite a Saturday of just like 6 games.
I know that's the thing. You just had a handful of games. It was just a little teaser, but it was just enough. It almost lost me to begin with. Farmageddon was rough to say the least to start.
It didn't start hot, but then it got very interesting.
Yes, especially when they decided to like not fumble the ball every other play and complete forward passes. that then it was like, oh, we're on. I mean, it just took a half to get there,
Yeah.
but, once they finally started to like settle in, which took way too
As
long.
soon as the hash marks just evaporate, then that's
Right.
when they decide to start playing football.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it was a great game. It's one of those bittersweet things. One, we didn't talk about it. I didn't realize that because of how the Big 12 schedules and they only protect one rivalry, that it's for the first time in like 100 years, it's going to be this is the last 20 next year. I think next year's the last time it's going to be played. Not the last time, but it's going to break the consecutive streak
Oh, really?
because of scheduling and because um Kansas State's rivalry protected rivalry is Kansas.
Oh. Well,
Sunflower
that
Showdown.
makes sense, but yeah.
It does, but not really because I feel like Kansas State people hate Iowa State in football more than they hate Kansas.
Uh, um, we should figure that out. We should
We
have
should.
someone.
It
So
sounded
yeah,
from the broadcast and from I think they had interviewed some students or some players, and it could just be some smarm, probably a little bit of smarm, but they definitely sounded like they circled the calendar for Farmageddon more than they do
mm-hmm.
the rival, and it's probably because they've walked
Hmm.
the rival for a long time.
I I get that. I guess there may be there are some Alabama people that hate Tennessee more than Auburn, for
I
example.
would,
Right?
yeah,
So
I
yeah.
would
So there's that. Yeah.
definitely say that there
Yeah.
are.
Yes.
Because it's for the most part they've not been meaningful games for a long time here
Right.
beside
Right.
flashes here and there, right? And
Right.
Tennessee, as
Right.
bad as they've been the last 15 years,
Yeah.
they obviously weren't for a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Though I mean the kick six still just haunts my nightmares. Like I mean the goalposts getting tossed in the river, that anytime you see those garbage truck convention wearing hillbillies smoking cigars, it does something to me. But kick six will just I will always remember that. Paul Walker died that day. That was the day Paul Walker died. It killed him. It killed him. Kick six killed him. So yeah. Oh man.
well, not only do we have an exciting Farmageddon, which we were
Hmm.
on the right side of that with
Yes, we
our
were.
picks, well,
Yep.
a little warm up, throughout a couple warm up pitches there with a couple picks, and the first one hit. It was a great game. I feel like Iowa State was really never in trouble to not cover, and then when they went up, what was
That
it?
65-yard touchdown got me a little nervous. I was
Yeah,
like,
when
oh
they went up
boy.
10 and
Yeah.
then immediately give up that
Yeah.
huge
That I
touchdown,
was
it was
like,
like,
yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, it didn't feel
Then they
so
had
good. That didn't feel so good.
a champions finish there, um, with the 4 minute offense or whatever it was. So that was big. That wasn't the biggest headline. So I was patrolling some Twitter and saw some interesting things that I wasn't aware of in the moment. But I texted you so I wouldn't forget
Yes.
about it. But
Yes.
not only was it just like people's sentiment was like, oh man, you're Kansas State. Not only do you fly thousands of miles to lose to your rival, and then watch your other rival blow out a team and unveil a beautiful new stadium because Kansas is now playing in a renovated stadium, which looked pretty nice. But you also had Avery Johnson's dad and brother get into a fight with each other
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the stands.
Yeah.
That was so bad that they had to issue an apology today.
Yeah. Yeah, that was well, so when I first saw that come through on Twitter, I was like, what like it wasn't the clip, it was just like a note that like they got into a fight after the game. And I just naturally assumed that they were fighting fighting on the same side
Yeah,
against other people. No,
as
no. They were
you would.
fighting each other in the parking lot. I
Yeah,
was like, what is going on
yeah,
here? Like
yeah.
what?
Not great.
What was like you have to assume the brother was just like, Avery fucked that one up. Like he's just, how are we gonna go to the league now? He's blowing it, you
You
know?
wish you could play D1. Fuck
Right,
you, Dad. That's
right,
exactly
right,
where it went.
right. Yeah. I mean, that's that. I feel like that had to be the conversation.
This is your favorite son, Dad? Him? The
Yeah.
guy out there? That, really? That's the guy? That's your guy?
Yeah.
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 Well,
Uh,
then we went on to the UNLV. So the Rebels and Idaho State was a game that I was interested in, from just a standpoint of Dan Mullen. It's Dan Mullen in the Mountain West. A lot of transfers, had a pretty talented team last year. Probably one of the few teams that could really fight Boise this year. And well, boy, they barely won. They were favored by the over this FCS school by 30
mhm.
and a half, won by 7 in late in the game, and then also gave up 555 yards of offense.
Did you know I don't know if this is in the text that you shared.
It's not great.
It was no, okay. So UNLV was favored by 30 and a half, right? They gave up 555 yards. Dan Molinaro. What up,
Yeah.
Pots? Off to a hot start. But here's a fun fact. I don't know if you saw this. Do you know what the largest upset by point spread is in college football history? In 2017,
No.
in 2017, Howard was a 45 and a half point underdog to UNLV and ended up winning 43 to 40.
Oh
So
no.
it's
The
just it's
Rebels.
just it's just so funny that
Uh,
like yeah, yeah,
yeah.
just UNLV, no spread, no big spread is safe for them. So
No. Not at all.
yeah.
And then we, got down to our little nightcap, which was a little earlier than we're used to heading out to the Big Island, but
Yeah.
must have been
Yeah.
weird for them too. It's early for them,
Yeah,
but
what time was that kickoff for them? What
what? They're 6 hours behind. Are they
yeah,
6?
6, yeah.
So 1 o'clock kickoff, 1:30.
Oh, yeah, not too bad for them.
That's not terrible, but
Yeah.
they're usually
Yeah.
closer to like 5:30, 5 o'clock kickoffs.
Yeah.
No, it was a good. That was the second game we picked, and it was one that I just liked from a standpoint of it's always tough to go out to the island for any school, let alone even California schools, because it's still, as you recently went. It's
Mhm.
out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a long ways away, even
Yes.
from California.
It's a hike. Yeah.
Um, so, and I think I sent you, I think in their last 8 home games, now nine, they were 8-0, now 9-0 against the spread. So for them to be favored, and Stanford really stinks, like
Hmm.
really stinks this year. Um, so I liked it. And then I later found out they had a short king at quarterback. So this is I think he's a true freshman or maybe a sophomore, but no, I think he's a true freshman. So he is a Hawaiian born and raised, but went to Mater Day to play football right in high school, like just to have a chance, and then went back, accepted to go back to Hawaii, and the dude tore it up, and they were down. I didn't get to watch most of it because we were watching Ted Lasso, but I did tune in the last couple minutes when I was like, okay, down three, with the ball in Stanford territory. I think at that point it was right before they kicked the game tying field goal before they got it back to have a chance to win it. But then what I didn't realize was the kicker, right? So the kicker
Hmm.
is named Kanze Matsuzawa, from Tokyo. And at age 20, he was a waiter at Morton's Steakhouse. And then he went on vacation to the US, saw an NFL game, returned home, and taught himself how to place kick via YouTube, and then convinced a college in Ohio, Hocking College, to let him kick field goals. He spoke no English, had no money, and gave himself haircuts. And he excelled in kicking and in English, transferred to Hawaii this summer, and then he kicked the game tying and game winning field goals.
That's gotta be the only position too where you get first off, incredible. Like I didn't know that story till you texted to me. Absolutely awesome story for him. Like this is the cool stuff. This is like why we watch, right? This is why we college
Yeah,
football.
that guy's gonna
Uh,
have stories to tell like
oh,
his grandkids, right?
yes,
Like
a
he does
thousand
not have to
percent.
go pro. He hasn't. No,
A
this is what
thousand percent.
happened.
He's gonna forget his grandkids. He's gonna be on game day. This a thousand. If there's not a
Yeah,
segment with
yeah,
him, I mean
for
they're
sure.
gonna fly out. Oh, what's his face? Why am I blanking? Southern accent. Oh,
Pollock? No, the other
no,
dude,
no. You know,
the
with the
big
beard and the
haircut.
hair, the
Yeah,
blonde,
what is
dirty
that dude's
blonde.
name?
Oh God, why am I blanking on his name? I
Sorry,
like
guys.
him a lot. I like his segments.
Sorry, guys. We're still warming up. You know, we're still warming up. Um, game day. Oh, I don't. Of course.
Oh God, I had it for a second. Marty Smith. Marty Smith.
More, yeah.
Marty Smith is going to be out there for 1,000%. Uh, talking to this guy, doing. It's going to be hilarious too. Southern accent, Marty Smith talking to this dude, trying to get. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just, and this is like the only position you can do it with, right? I mean, you
Right.
can't be like go do YouTube tutorials to like teach yourself how to be like a D tackle or something
No.
like that, you know?
Maybe
Like,
punter, especially now that like places
yeah,
like
punter.
Australia's had
Yeah,
like academies for
it has to
Australians to
be.
learn how to punt so they can come to America
It
to
has to
go to college
be
essentially.
either it has to be a special teamer. So it's got to
Yeah,
be
long
long
snapper maybe.
snapper, kicker, punter. Those are the only ones where you can just show up and if you do the job, it's like, yep, that sounds good. We'll take you. You know, good for him, man.
Hey
Good
man,
for him.
I have 4 years of eligibility. What about you?
Three.
Could you imagine? Nah, fuck it. I don't need to go D1.
Yeah.
Give me a D3 chance to kick a field goal in a game. I'm
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Warm me up.
Oh boy, my hamstring feels tight just thinking about it, honestly. So, uh,
Yeah, so it was just like honestly, week zero is always one of those things where you are excited that football is back, meaningful, it counts football, because you're still in the thick of the preseason for the NFL. You're not quite to Labor Day for the regular season for college football, but it's something. And usually it's just kind of something, right? It's exactly
mm,
what, it's just a little tease. Unless you're a fan of the team playing, it's usually not too big of a deal. But I will say, like, putting a rivalry, although I have qualms, it is coolish that it's in Ireland. A rivalry like that needs to always be on campus, especially if you're going to have a hiatus in the rivalry. That's just my opinion. I think that's a more acceptable game to be played than Georgia Tech and Florida State out there last year. But um, it was nice to have a rivalry and a heated rivalry, even if it's not one that everyone cares about. And then you just had some solid games after that, right?
yeah,
With a nightcap with a great finish. So it was. I feel like it was one of the better week zeros, just from. I feel like maybe in our eyes, an excitement standpoint.
good signs, I think, for the season to come.
Yeah.
Nice to win some money. Nice to have like good games to watch throughout. Like it was as much as you could ask for out of a week zero. And now we are officially back. Like we've made it, you know?
Yeah.
Like starting this weekend, there will be football on every Saturday and every Sunday for a very long time. And I love it. I love it.
All right, let's talk about our trophy. Let's do our housekeeping at the end. Let's get to this trophy.
Okay.
Let's get to this rivalry because we have a few different um, tidbits to add to this game specifically in this rivalry, which is the Victory Barrel, which is a game played between the East Carolina Pirates and the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And this is an interesting one because, do I say why we were thinking about this yet? Should I hold off on why we were thinking about this rivalry more than just because it's landed up on our episode list?
Yeah, you can go for it.
Okay.
You can. Yeah.
Well, we have been thinking for a few years now about how we can take how we can just go to a game, right? Like together, kind of as a pod. Um, and this was kind of the first year that we really made like an attempt. Like we thought about it last year and it didn't work out going down to Tuscaloosa. We really wanted to do that. But this was like this year we really tried to plan out a bunch of alternatives. And when I tell you, if this game wasn't played on a fucking Thursday, we'd probably be there.
Yeah.
This was something where it's within range of us. It's a rivalry that neither of us really knew about, right? Like I never
Yeah.
knew they were rivals, let alone know how heated it is,
Yeah.
let alone know it has a trophy.
Yeah.
And then it was like we were really thinking about making this a whole caravan, which is probably more in our future once we don't have little ones in the
Hmm.
household and can be gone for that time. But was going to have, this trickle from, East Carolina and North Carolina State on a Thursday down to um, Tallahassee, which ends up being Coach's final game day for Bama and the Seminoles, which is just cool that's being played on campus because usually big programs, even if Florida State's been down for the most part, that they're still doing that not at a neutral site. But
Hmm. Hmm.
this was something we were really excited about, and then honestly, it's just like as we thought about this, just had this on our calendar, didn't work out for us. So unfortunately, everyone, we are not going to Victory Barrel. But I'll tell you what, man, that is something I'm going to look for every year,
Yeah.
and we're going to try and make this one work because we
Yeah.
we want
Yeah.
to get to this game.
Absolutely.
Um, but then we got a little bit more context around this, and this
Oh,
is what we
yeah.
don't usually get, which is it's different for us. So, I guess, do you want to start with? Why don't we start with the one that you had separately without me, your conversations? Because didn't you know someone that was a grad
Well, I know some people who are like in the area,
in the
right?
area? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I know some people who are like in that general area, and they're like, yeah, like this is a big deal. Like I think I was talking about like East Carolina, and I think, and then like we started mentioning how like yeah, it would be cool to. I was mentioning how like yeah, we were thinking about doing this road trip, and stop off at ECU and NC State, end up down in Tallahassee for the final game day and everything. And they were like, "Oh man, like East Carolina, NC State, like that is a big deal. Like people really take that seriously. They hate each other." I'm like, "Really? Like they're
Yeah.
like they're separated by power four versus group five. Like yeah, it's a big deal." And then I asked other people who are just in the area, and everyone who that I know who is in Carolina and has some type of an inkling of like college football knows that like attests to the fact like yeah, this is a huge rivalry for these two schools. Like they hate each other. And
And this
then
pop. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say it. And then Mike and I getting together as we do to go watch ourselves some Marvel movies. Oh, like to we also before we go to said theater like to partake in a beverage or two
mhm,
from a
as
fine
one does.
establishment that's next to theater, and as we are in the moment drinking before we're going to watch the Fantastic Four, we had a gentleman sit next to us and kind of hear us talking about we were kind of talking about the pod, talking about college football, and he was kind of like, oh, kind of perked up and kind of chimed in, and it first started off as he's from Ohio, a big Ohio State fan. Obviously, we kind of talked to him about how we felt about these last couple seasons with
Mhm.
national championships, with losing to Michigan, and with all that stuff, which naturally for us was like, oh, do you know that they have some trophies? And he's like, what? Like, I love that. Like, I
Yeah.
love rivalry trophies. And started talking about the Eli Buck trophy to him, which then I don't know how we got to NC State and East
I think
Carolina.
his son, he said his son goes to. I think he says son goes to ECU.
Oh, and
He
that's right. And
said
I think he was
he
like,
said
"Oh, they
they
have a
have a trophy.
yeah."
Yeah.
He's like, "They have a trophy," and we're like, "We know." And he's like, "That rivalry is really heated."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I won't say the little fun fact that he told us, which I will get to later, describing this history. But he was all fired up and talking about how intense this was, and you know, he was excited to listen to this episode. So
yeah.
shout out to our guy, right? Our
Yes.
guy at the bar at BJ's. Shout out
Yeah.
because it was a great conversation. Honestly, if we didn't have a movie, we probably would have sat there for a lot
I
longer.
mean,
You caught it too. You're like, we gotta go.
yeah, I'm
Movie
like, this
starts in a
movie's
minute.
starting, but I could stay here and keep chatting about this. Yeah. So, um,
But even more
yeah.
context, like just a random guy who was on a work trip, I
Yeah,
believe.
because he didn't know about the Buck, but then
No.
he did mention the Chancellor's Cup. Like I think he asked us, he's like, "Do you know what the oldest rivalry trophy is?"
Hmm.
And we Chancellor's Cup because we had just talked about it though. Or I think yeah, I think he posed it as a question. Yeah, so he knew some stuff, but then yeah, educating him on the Buck trophy was pretty, which is
And can I just say,
yeah, jump in.
Chancellor's Cup golf
Oh,
the
Territorial Cup.
territorial cup. Just want to say it. Could be driving someone else
Chancellor
crazy.
Spurs
Yep,
Territorial
I
Cup.
know. There's so much. Yep. I know
Yeah.
you're in CFB 26 mode
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah.
You're thinking about virtual trophies.
I am. I am thinking about virtual trophies quite a bit. Thinking about
Just
recruiting these kids. Yeah.
listen. Just want to call it out. We know. We've said quarterbacks from SEC schools in Nashville wrong. We've said those wrong. So we just
Yes.
wanted to make sure that we're
We'll clean it
tightening
up.
up.
Clean up now as opposed to
We're
in the
cleaning
end.
up now.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, territorial cup. But it was just yeah. The long story short for the listeners here is this season, as you know, is going to be full of a lot of these small schools, or at least one of the two schools being small, not rivalries that are usually talked about nationally. You're not going to find yourself on game day too often, right? Talking about some of these trophies, some of these rivalries. So when we get to firsthand accounts unprompted, it really drew attention. And honestly, it was one of those things where it's so bittersweet because we really want to be at this game. We would love a chance to see this trophy. And like I said, we're gonna circle it and we're gonna try and find a year that we can make this work. But it was just kind of serendipitous that
Yeah.
we were even thinking about adding this game to the episode this year and had this planned out, and then had two separate strangers, well, these stranger in one aspect, and for you, people that you wouldn't talk about this, this kind of topic on, normally to talk about this rivalry. It definitely says volume. So
Yeah.
in the research that we do, we always kind of talk about this part's missing. I feel like we have a really good idea
Yeah.
of this part of the rankings for us
Yeah.
when we get down to it. All right. Any guesses to what this victory barrel looks like?
I'm guessing, a barrel of a good size,
Okay.
similar to what was used for tobacco,
Okay.
to store tobacco in back in the day.
Okay.
That would be my guess as
That's
to
your
what this
guess.
trophy looks like. Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Well, let's see if you're right when we get down to it. For now, let's talk about the history of the rivalry a little bit. Uh, oh, excuse me, a little nimble giant building up there.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Nice. Good
So the first
selection.
matchup was in 1970. NC State won 23-6, and NC State won 12 of the first 17 games in the series. But in the modern era, ECU has battled back. So now NC State leads the series, 19 wins to 14 losses. So this is actually,
They had a 12-5 series lead, and NC State has come back. Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Or
And
ECU's come back. I said NC State. Yeah. Wow. That is impressive. That speaks volumes. Because again, you look at the caliber of players that you at a Power Five or Power Four versus Group of Five.
yeah,
That's wow. That's
I know.
impressive.
I know. That's what you want to hear about when you're a pirate, and what you don't want to hear about when you're part of the Wolfpack.
I will say, I do have an ECU shirt. I do
I,
have an ECU no quarter shirt. So,
I
which
and I guess like if you're part of this rivalry, it's probably got to be annoying because I feel like ECU has gotten a lot of shine recently because
Mhm.
of like some swag and what they look like.
They look great.
But I will say, after we did our jersey, I think I might have picked NC State in our jersey draft. They've done a good job.
You
I
picked
like their
ECU. You
logo.
picked ECU, or you picked. Oh, you did
NC
pick NC.
State.
You did
So
pick
I
NC.
will say, although ECU gets a lot of shine and it's unique, it's a pirate, it's purple. NC State has done a good job and has some really good ideas with the white helmets, black, red. They've actually done a pretty good job of mixing and matching some pretty solid color combinations over the last a few years. So they're no slouches in that department either.
Did someone pick ECU? Uh,
I love that you're looking back at this from like
I
a couple of years ago now.
yeah. No, you didn't. You almost picked NC State. You did not, though.
I did not.
You picked the Tar Heels. You went all blue, except for Minnesota and TCU.
Okay.
You went all blue. You did UNC, Gators,
Did
Boise,
did NC State
UCLA.
get chosen? Someone
I'm
had
looking.
someone had to have taken him, and
I'm
that was
looking.
probably the reason why I didn't.
Um, well,
No?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Doyle took NC State.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean they do in this picture that was chosen, they do look pretty freaking clean because it's the red jersey with the white
Huh.
helmet with the red face mask and then the
Ooh.
NC State logo. Yeah, it's pretty clean. I did win that draft, and I have to say I'm super happy with the teams I selected there. Super
we
happy
we
with the
should
teams I
revisit that
selected.
again. We should do that again. That was fun.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
like
was a lot
small
of fun.
schools.
I would do that. Oh yeah, if we only did small schools because we
Yeah.
did one from each Power Five at the time,
Yeah.
and then we picked one group of
Group of
five.
five. But maybe we just like dig into group of five minus the 4 or 5 that we chose.
You could do you could do an entire group of five. Well, I think we could let those teams be reselected because they're worth it.
Yeah, that's true.
We could do group of five again with Oh wait, no, maybe we didn't because oh no, that's right because Jimmy took Notre Dame. We said you have to pick one from the Power Five, and then you could choose group of five or independent, and he went Notre Dame, which
Okay.
was the first, I think, first off the board. But yeah, we could do that again. You could choose all group of five, then you get one from the Power Four. That would be interesting.
Or we could even like push one from FCS. I wonder if someone's got
Ooh,
like some solid looking
they do.
jerseys.
In FCS, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
There's got to be a couple programs that have enough money to be able to put like names on the back of the jerseys and not
I
make
mean,
them like high
I'll
school
tell you
ones.
right now, I have several in my head that I would take from FCS, multiple FCS schools that I would, or
Are
FBS, or
yeah,
yeah, FCS, sorry, FCS, yeah,
is one of them a hat that you have?
yes. That's definitely one. Yes.
All right. Why don't we then get back to our second iteration of this new segment of ours, the small school spotlight. Because again, while Raleigh, admittedly, where NC State is located, is not a small city, I think there was still NC State in general is probably not a school that most people have thought about at all, and doesn't get enough shine, even though it is in a larger city. Obviously, ECU is not in, well, not obviously, but ECU is not in a larger city in Greenville. So let me just tell you a little bit about the city, the school, and some of the traditions. So we'll start with the ECU. It's located in Greenville, and Uptown Greenville is actually the downtown district. So they call it Uptown Greenville, which is
Okay.
interesting. Downtown. And this is a lively core that has a bunch of shops and restaurants, art galleries, and the Five Points Plaza is what hosts the festivals, markets, and live music events. Something that I thought was kind of cool and right up my alley, especially when we were testing, messing with our kind of travel guide, is I love food. And when I go to new places, I love to find local food. So in Greenville, there is a place called Sup Dogs. Sup, dogs?
Oh, nice, like that. Yeah.
An ECU alumni owned hot dog and burger joint, and that was voted the number one college bar slash restaurant in America multiple times.
Oh,
No,
I think I saw that. I think because did Barstool do that or something? Okay, all right, interesting,
sup,
interesting.
dogs.
Yeah. Hmm.
They also do something that's not going to surprise you. They host an annual Pirate Fest, which is a spring
Nice.
festival celebrating ECU's pirate spirit.
Oh yeah.
And that includes some parades, live music, food, and entertainment
Hell
right
yeah.
in
Love that.
Uptown Greenville. And let's see here, they play baseball, which is interesting, at Clark LeClaire Stadium, but they also have a student section called the Jungle. And that is one of the most raucous baseball
Oh, okay. Okay,
student
for
sections,
baseball.
which is interesting.
So is the jungle for all sports or primarily baseball?
It is, I believe, primarily baseball, but please, if you're an alum and I am completely wrong on this, please tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But now we get to Rowdy Dowdy. So Ficklin, sorry, Dowdy Ficklin Stadium is nicknamed Rowdy Dowdy, and that holds 51,000 fans, making it the second largest college football stadium in North Carolina.
Second, well, that makes sense. I've been to Duke's campus. Duke has the smallest stadium in the world. Uh,
So I'm going to assume it's bigger than Chapel Hill then, and so
yeah.
this is
NC
right
State's
behind
number
NC
one.
State.
Yeah.
hmm
Okay. Okay.
I know. It's things you don't think about
Yeah.
because of how
Yeah.
much shine, especially Duke. I don't think people realize how private and how small Duke is because
Tiny.
of the success that the
Tiny.
basketball
Tiny.
programs
Yeah.
had.
Small. I mean, Cameron Indoor is also
Like a
tiny and
high school. I'm pretty
ancient.
sure from
Yeah.
what I've heard,
The
they
field
almost
house. Yeah. Yeah.
pull the seats out from like the walls, like
Yeah.
a high school.
Yeah. Dude, it's like a field house. Yeah. Super small.
So this one was opened. Rowdy Dowdy was opened in 1963. It's undergone multiple upgrades, including a new town bank tower that has skyboxes and club seats, which is
Where's that money go? Just hold on. I'm just thinking about this now. Duke, where's that money go?
I
Because
mean,
like you haven't upgrade Cameron Indoor. You haven't done shit to the football field. Like where's that money going? And it's a lot of money. There's a lot of smart people that go to Duke. They also get a ton of money from basketball. Like now, I guess, well, for NIL, it's a different way of looking at it, but like,
Zion Williamson. It's going into the
yeah, I guess,
pockets of these people. That's where it's
but
going.
like, is that Duke also prides itself on education? So is it just all going to the nerds? Like, is
Probably,
that
yeah. That's that would be my guess is that it's going. The majority of it's going
it's
to
a nice campus.
academics.
Like, it's very like a lot of stone buildings,
Okay.
like stone facades and stuff, which is not cheap to build. But like, where's that going? They're not spending $1,500 on a toilet seat unless they are. Where's it going to Duke?
Probably professors.
This is something I think could be looked into. There could be a massive money laundering situation at Duke. Now
Coach
that I think
K.
about it.
You don't realize how much he made.
Well, yeah, I guess there's that too. But
Something other interesting about ECU was Ross Hall, which houses the School of Dental Medicine, which not only provides advanced education for kids that are trying to work through dental school, but they also they offer reduced fee dental care through a network of clinics aimed at like the underserved populations of the area.
yeah, well, I know someone that went to she got Case. I think Andy went to Case, right? Case John Carroll. One of those schools, one of the Ohio schools. Yeah, they did that too. Yeah.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah.
I never like. I'm just thinking of my school. We had some interesting programs like archaeology, dance, even mine intelligence is pretty unique. So anytime I see something that's unique like that, like a school of
Yeah.
medicine or dental medicine at a university, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
it's been recognized as an Apple distinguished program for its technological innovation and embrace of teledentistry.
Teledentistry?
Open your mouth. Let me see. Ah, cavity. Come in
Wow.
or don't, right? It's easy. Cleanings are cleanings, right? So you just got to make sure
Yeah.
your gum health is a certain way, right? Like
Yeah.
make sure that your teeth don't have too much decay
Yeah.
and holes in them.
Yeah.
Probably can do a lot of that from remote if you're just interested in, not necessarily the cleanings, but just
I
knowing whether
don't
or not
know,
you're.
man. I mean, you got to really get in there. Like, well, I don't
There's
know.
cameras.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's still.
All right, now shifting to more sports related things. They do something called the Pirate Walk, which is their pregame procession, which seats players, coaches, the marching band, all parading towards the stadium with a line, which is very common for a lot of schools. But the Pirate Walk is an interesting thing. They also have a very electric. So we talked about Havoc. Havoc. Oh my gosh. So Dave texted me about Havoc, and he had some added context to it. Sorry to flash
Really?
back, but I missed this. This was my fault. Hands up. I should have looked at the poem further. But this is what he looked up. So he looked up the Shakespeare quote, and Havoc was a, which makes total sense. They didn't explain it in the article I read. I should have just taken the extra 5 minutes to read this context on why it was chosen. But it was a military order instructing the men to pillage, plunder, and kill indiscriminately. So let slip the dogs of war.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that's that's the historical context was for years, whatever it was, generals and or whoever leaders
Yeah.
would say that quote for their people to go murder and pillage. So then that's why they took it. But it's just that
Yeah.
added context of just
Yeah.
badass
Yeah.
when you're considering it for
Yeah.
a football game. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so with this, the ECU has purple haze. So one of the most electric entrances
Nice.
is they burst onto the field with Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze
That's dope.
enveloped in purple smoke.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope.
So that's pretty cool and clever as well.
Yeah.
They also fire a cannon each time ECU players run onto the field, and again after they score. So they have
Yeah.
a cannon fire. And then they have the no quarter flag. So at the beginning of the fourth quarter, ECU lowers its Jolly Roger and raises a no quarter flag, a stiff burgundy Jolly Roger, signaling that Pirates fans will give no mercy. Fans salute this moment by crossing their arms dramatically over their chest or head.
Oh my God, I love that.
Oh wow!
That's sick.
Get it up. No quarter flag.
Throw it up.
Then they have a purple and gold chant. So they have one of those a lot of times in either professional stadiums, which I've learned like Seahawks didn't know that they do
Oh,
Seahawks.
ox.
Yeah. So these guys do purple
Purple.
and gold.
Gold.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
There it is.
Don't love that as much as Purple Haze and the no quarter thing.
Yeah.
But overall, a pretty raucous environment. Rowdy Dowdy seems like
I know. I
be a
know.
great place to see a
But
game.
it's not at Rowdy Dowdy this
Okay, well
year.
that well, I'm not
So
sad. I'm not
so
sad then.
can we? Because that was the thing too. Not really the deciding factor. We're more than happy to go to Raleigh, but I think it would feel even better to catch
A
the
thousand
game in
percent to
Greenville.
catch it. Yeah, yeah.
All right, on to NC State. So a few facts here. NC State was established in 1887 as the North Carolina College of Agriculture and Mechanic Arts, one of the nation's earliest land grant institutions under the Morrill Act. So we've talked about a few different land grant
Several
universities.
land grant universities.
Pretty much
Yes.
anything that says state
Yeah.
is usually a land grant, but this one was one of the earliest. They also have the Holiday Hall, which was the original hub. So the entire university began in Holiday Hall, completed in 1889. It was built using over 1.2 million bricks, lacked electricity and plumbing, and housed everything from classrooms to the entire all male student body of just 72 students. And what do you think
I expect a bigger number than that.
the annual tuition was back in 1889?
Annual tuition? $50, 1889.
$130.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
guess though.
Yeah. Well, I knew it would. Yeah, it could be significant. Yeah.
They also have a memorial bell tower, which is a symbol of service. So it's 115 feet. The tower honors alumni who died in World War One. It was constructed from Mount Airy granite, and it blends some Romanesque revival and collegiate Gothic styles. Couldn't tell you what either
Of
of those
course
are.
it does.
Um, but it
That's what I
wasn't
would do.
it wasn't fully completed though until 2021 when it added some of the actual bells to the tower because it was a lot of the tower without bells. It also had the Free Expression Tunnel. So built in 1939, the Free Expression Tunnel is an underpass that connects north and central campuses. So since 1968, it's been designated a graffiti-friendly zone, welcoming murals, messages, activism, and student
Oh, that's
creativity.
pretty sick.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
And some notable alumni. So there's a couple of NFL first rounders. Both are in modern era that we are both very aware of. Can you name them? One you're going to get easily. The other one might take you a second.
I don't
Where's
know.
who are some
Oh, well,
famous
Russell
Wolfpack?
Wilson. Well, I guess he's not an alumni though. Yeah,
No,
that's
yeah, because he transferred. That's a good one
um
though.
hmm.
It is a quarterback.
Yeah.
I
Um
will say a Hall of Famer, but he has never won a Super Bowl. He might not get in, but I think he should.
Hall of Famer that hasn't won the Super Bowl.
My last hint, you'll get it. He
Hmm.
has 10 to 12 kids.
Oh, Phil Rivers went to NC State? Oh, okay. All right.
Him and that little.
I was stuck on Flacco. I was stuck on the East Coast. I went Flacco, then I went Carson Palmer. I was like kind of bopping around there. So
The other one was a defensive end, and I think he was drafted by Houston. So it would have been one of Houston's first picks. So David Carr was their first overall ever pick. This guy was not, he was in that era, not too much later than that.
well, oh, see, that's interesting. I thought Mario Williams was their first overall pick, but Mario Williams is from
Yes,
NC State. Okay, okay.
but David Carr, I believe, was their first one, and then I think Mario would have been right after that.
Okay, 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 gotcha, gotcha.
Yep. So those are two of the notable. Obviously, there's been other successful Wolfpack players, but I would say these might be the only ones that were first rounders because Russell Wilson, even if you count him as an
Yeah,
alum, he was not a first round pick.
gotcha, gotcha.
They play at Carter Finley Stadium, originally just over 40,000 seats, but their capacity now stands about around 56,919 to 58,000. This seems like one of those we just want to be the biggest
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the
Add in a
state
couple extra seats, yeah, to get the biggest in the
fight,
state.
right?
Yeah,
That's what
we didn't
Michigan
get
and
that
Penn
land
State,
grant for nothing. Yeah,
right? Michigan, Penn State do the same thing where they want the biggest capacity, so they add standing room only and
yeah,
seats here and there to try and do it. But they added Wolfpack Tower. This place loves towers. A three-level structure with 51 luxury suites, 955 club seats, modern press box, and also a Murphy Football Center for training and operations. So all kind of at the stadium. They also have a Walk of Champions. So before kickoff, the team makes a grand entrance at the Murphy Football Stadium, flanked by the band, the cheerleaders, and mascots Mr. and Mrs. Wolf. They welcome players through the Gant Plaza, past the Wolfpack turf statue, and it is a charged moment that gets the people going.
I believe it.
They also have this, not to be confused with about a million other, but this is their Wolfpack sign. Wolfpack.
Yeah, it's the too
Woo!
sweet. Yeah,
Woo,
they
woo,
they
woo.
too sweet it. Yeah, from back
Uh,
in the NWO days.
oh. Woo,
Yeah,
woo.
too sweet.
And the last thing is they do the
Wait,
bell tower lighting. So that big bell tower I mentioned earlier. Post game, the
does it
iconic
say when they
memorial.
started this thing? By the way, does it happen to say when they started this
I
hand
didn't
symbol?
dig that. I didn't dig that
It's
far.
because I'm pretty sure Kevin Nash talks about him and Scott Hall talk about when they started this thing. It was like a I think it was like a Russian gang or something like that that like was like the Wolf Pack that like did this thing, and that's why Hall and Nash started doing it because they thought it was the sickest thing ever. I don't know. I'll have to go back and check that. I'm really interested to see how it all started. So,
It looks like 1975.
hmm.
I think it says here, according to historicalstatelib.ncstate.edu, so it must be their library. NC State introduced Miss Wolf in 1975 to complement Mr. Wolf. And during that season, the cheerleaders debuted the hand gesture known as Wolf Hands. So I don't know if that's as close as I could get to answering that this quickly. So I don't know what Wolf Hands
Uh,
are.
Nash said they call it the Turkish Wolf. X-Pac started it, brought it to their attention on a European trip. I think, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Hold on. They did talk about NC State. Hold on. Do you guys associate? If you want to go back, who did the NWO get it from? Oh no, he does. AJ Styles starts talking about the wolf. Anyway, all right, this is gonna get weird. Uh oh oh no, this is interesting. Kevin Nash, he said when we were throwing out the Turkish wolf, it made sense that we were the wolf pack because NWO wolf pack, right? But it was wolf pack without a K. And he says, and they were also red and black, like NC State. He says, since the Wolfpack was owned by NC State, we made the Wolfpack without a K so that they could register it and trademark it.
There you go.
That's pretty funny.
That was one of those things where they just, yeah, they had an idea, came up with it, and then someone was like, hey, by the way, I want
That's
to cover your own ass
that's pretty
because
funny.
you're about to get a cease and desist.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
The last thing I was just going to say is the bell tower lighting. So the iconic Memorial Bell Tower is lit in a vivid red glow following major athletic victories, especially after beating the Pirates. So a little bit more on the history of this rivalry. The first game was back in 1970, like I had mentioned. They'd played annually until this football series between the two were suspended in 1987. So that was what our distinguished gentleman at BJ's had talked about, how the rivalry was
Mhm.
so heated that it got suspended at one point, and it did. Now, did I expect to see that Jim Valvano was the one that terminated the
Really?
rivalry because he was the athletic director at that point and not the basketball
Oh,
coach? I did not.
wow. That's Jimmy B. Had to be like, easy guys.
Yep. Well, Jimmy V canceled it because Pirates fans tore down the goalposts and tore up the playing surface at Carter Finley in 1987. And this was after NC State's athletic administration had publicly warned ECU and Pirates fans after 2 consecutive years of minor vandalism to the stadium.
Did they do it after a win? Like, did ECU win and then they went and tore down the statues or statues, the goalposts?
That's a great question. I'm not sure, but I can tell you.
Because that, I mean, that's if so, that's a little. I don't want to talk ill of Jimmy V, but like that's a little weak. I mean, but also that's a tough look. If you get upset at home and the away team, the underdog supposedly storms your field and tears down your goalpost, that's a tough look. Tough look if that were the
Yeah,
case.
it was a 32-14 win by the Pirates. So
If they stormed the field and tore down the goalposts, buddy, I think that you might have to close up your football program at that point.
so something else that's unique to this, but I don't know that I call it out. I felt like I read it, but I don't know that I called it out. Was Oh no, I do. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for myself because I did. Anyway, so they 1987, so they played annually from 70 to 87. Then Jimmy V said, "Nah, stop." And the schools didn't meet again until 1992 in the Peach Bowl. And then in 1996, the two schools met in Charlotte at the Bank of America where the Panthers play, rather than either school's home field. And then in 1997, the new North Carolina legislator proposed a bill demanding that UNC and NC State must play ECU on an annual basis. It was just one of those things where it was proposed, it was never passed officially, but it was just again a sign of how much this rivalry means to people that they were demanding that
Yeah,
ECU
has to
play
come
the
back.
other two.
Yeah.
So the series would have officially be revived in 2024. And that's when the two schools were chosen to play in the 2024 Military Bowl. And East Carolina ended up winning 26 to 21. And then East Carolina and NC State have met on the football field 33 times, like we had mentioned earlier, with 24 of them being played at Carter Finley Stadium, only five of them at Dowdy Ficklin at Rowdy Dowdy, and then four at neutral sites or at neutral venues. And the highest profile game was played in that 1992 Peach Bowl, and that had 59,000 fans in attendance. This game would go on record as officially the largest attended game between two North Carolina college football teams, which I think is pretty cool. It's just
I
kind of a
would not have expected that.
no, so it's kind of one of those things. So that was what I was going to mention was the fact that it actually this game has not been played very often at Rowdy Dowdy. So I think it's been, if I'm looking at it now, the entire series from 1970 to 1987 was all played in Raleigh, every game, which then makes a little bit more sense why they won 12 of 17. And then after it got rebooted, let's see here. So in 99, they played in Greenville. In 2007, they played in Greenville. So then it starts to get a little bit more like every other year when they've scheduled it or every other time that they've scheduled it. With the last four, so they played in 2018 in Raleigh, 2019 in Raleigh, 2022 in Greenville, 1 point victory for NC State, and then they played in that Military Bowl in Annapolis. So,
I get the NC State is the Power Four program and everything like that, but I mean, you're scheduling them because, it's a rivalry and like you want to, if you're going to schedule, well, I don't know though. I mean, if I were NC State, I don't want to schedule a rival as my kind of tune-up game, right? But like, especially in this era, you don't, you want to try to like minimize as much risk as possible. But this was hard, man. This is the hard thing about it, right? Like, we want to, especially with like the reshaping of the college football landscape, like you want to protect rivalries as much as possible, but it's really tough to justify, like, should I schedule someone who's definitely going to get up for this game when I could just schedule, you know, Mercer or like, someone like that, right? So,
well, I think
Idaho State.
something that we didn't talk about at the beginning of the episode that we can touch on and not get too derailed in at this point is incentives are slowly changing. And
Yeah.
so not only are there more room for error, but now we have other conferences finally joining the others as far as how they're scheduling opponents. So now that actually might be a positive
Strength, the
moving
committee
forward. And
did
you
say strength of schedule is something that they're going to be looking at whenever
right.
they go forward. So yeah, yeah.
And then the last thing is the last thing I was able to find before we get to this fabulous trophy is I don't know where the trophy is kept when it is at NC State, but when it is at ECU, it is on display at the Student Union Association suite in the main campus center.
As someone who is somewhat impartial to this rivalry, Um, a lot of points going in ECU's favor thus far in the history. So a plucky underdog, a rowdy environment, a lot to like here. If you love towers, then NC State's your program, my friend.
Yeah.
If you value the high ground, Ben Kenobi is definitely a big NC State guy. Values the high ground
Yeah, for sure.
incredibly so. But for me, as a plucky underdog, me and Anakin will be on the ECU side.
Okay.
So
Well, why don't you scroll down and finally describe what this trophy looks like?
oh, oh yeah, that's nice. Okay. So it is as I mentioned, as I predicted, a sizable barrel. It is a wooden barrel with the bands around the barrel being a silver. The lid of the barrel does come off, and it's written rather crudely. I guess not crudely, but like it's pretty. It's like what you would expect if like if you're just hiring someone or if you're just having like the cheerleaders paint
Yeah.
ECU and NC State on the lid.
Mhm.
So that's ECU in purple letters with a yellow outline, and NC State in red with a white outline. And then there are individual plaques. It looks like when NC State won, there is a red plaque. And these plaques are put on the side of the barrel. So a red plaque that says the year and the score, and when ECU wins, it's a purple plaque. Love the size of this bad boy. Love the plaques and that they like alternate the colors. Like this is what's how do I want to describe this? Um, it's very down to earth, right? When you think of like there's trophies that we've talked about, especially for when we've thought about like what trophies could be, right? As we've talked about, great example. EJ and I were reminiscing, and we probably should have talked about this prior in our last episode with Farmageddon. We were throwing around the idea of what a trophy could look like for Farmageddon. And I had mentioned on an episode last year a golden corn stalk with like ears of corn that are rubies and ears of corn that are amethysts, right? That's the purple gemstone. And then we were talking about texting about this weekend. I was like, you know what? That might be a little much. That might be like a little bit much for Farmageddon, right? A little too gaudy, a little too flashy.
Mhm.
And this barrel, this victory barrel is like perfect for ECU and NC State. We're not getting too fancy. We're not getting too crazy with it. It's a barrel that, formerly housed tobacco, perhaps. I don't know if it says that, if it did or did not. And you're leveraging school colors heavily here, which I love. And yeah, it's a solid ass trophy.
Well, this story, I don't know why this is the only way I we can receive this, but you guys are in for a treat. So this story comes straight from the both student governments websites, but it is written in a way, you know what this actually reminds me of? It reminds me of is it General Andrew Luck, the parody account? Where,
Yeah.
where he's talking
Captain. He's a captain. He works for a
Captain
living. Yeah. Well, that's
Captain
cool. Yeah.
Andrew Luck, where it's that's a parody account on Twitter or X, and it's just it's Andrew Luck's perspective on a football game, but from but told as if he was in the 1800s as a captain writing back to his wife, a
His
handwritten letter.
mother. His mother.
Oh, his mother. That's what it is. His
Yes.
mother. So this story is written that way. So I'm going to read it word for word. But this is the
Oh.
history of this Victory Barrel, and this is straight from both student government websites. So student leaders share a story that has been passed around for years. Discover the lore behind the Victory Barrel tradition. On a farm in eastern North Carolina lived two brothers who were always competitive, each vying to be better than the other. The brothers competed with games they played, sports in which they participated, and everything in between, no matter how small. The brothers kept score of every competition with tally marks of their victories on an old wooden barrel, which was hidden in their family barn. Over the years, the rivalry between the two brothers became stronger and stronger. The competition became so fierce that the boys decided they did not wish to and would not attend the same school. However, each brother wanted to attend a university in their great state of North Carolina. One brother attended East Carolina University and the other NC State. For years, the brothers endured an intense rivalry between each other. This included vying to see who received better marks in the classroom, who was part of more extracurricular activities, and who would win competitions between the two universities. Eventually, they both graduated from their respective universities, and to no one's surprise, both brothers became farmers, returning home to use the skills they learned to help the family farm. The brother from state was more experienced with growing the cattle, while the brother from ECU was more experienced in the business aspect of farming. The brothers continued their competition when they moved out and started their own farms. They returned to the days of their youth and used the old wooden barrel to keep scores as to who was more successful in his business endeavors. The brothers ended up living exactly 77 miles apart, which happens to be exactly where their family's land was split evenly. Eventually, each brother became a successful, wealthy man. As they prospered, each brother gave back to the community and to the universities which they loved. While they supported many aspects of their schools, both had a passion to support their university's athletic programs. Consequently, they never ceased to bring the competitive nature into the mix. Each brother trying to out support the other to give his team the best chance to be successful. Finally, the brothers determined that establishing a concrete rivalry was in order. They wanted a competition that would be long standing, one that would last beyond their years and could be kept going generation after generation. Therefore, the brothers decided to meet at the family barn where the wooden barrel that they had used to keep tally of all their competitions over the years had remained hidden. From that day on, it was decided that the winner of the annual ECU NC State football game would decide ownership of that wooden barrel. It became a tradition every year that whoever won the bet won the wooden barrel, and the loser would scratch the score onto the barrel's side. A new rivalry had been respected. Well, sorry, had been born. Sorry, a new rivalry had been born. The rivalry would go on to have a positive impact in each of their schools' respective regions and on the beautiful state of North Carolina. Eventually, the game would become known as the Battle for the Barrel. Bitter rivals at every game, they each fought for the chance to take home the wooden barrel year after year. Eventually, the brothers got too old to roll the barrel from game to game, so they turned their infamous old barrel over to the student bodies and their student government associations, who they knew would keep the competition of the old wooden barrel going strong. Today, students at both schools continue the brothers' tradition, steeped in rivalry, and bring the barrel to today's games. As always, the loser will scratch the score and the winner will take it home, but only until the next game. The old barrel, now known as the pork barrel, has seen many miles between Raleigh and Greenville and will always be in the hands of the students as the remainder of our past and a symbol of our future. Beginning in 2007, the student government associations of both North Carolina and ECU, in a cooperative agreement, began awarding the victory barrel to the game winner.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Can I
it's
tell you
so
where
good.
my mind immediately went
Yeah.
since they did not say anything about the names of these people? Was the Deathly Hollows. This felt like the Peveril family, where it's like it's kind of a lure. It's in books, but no one really knows. They kind of guess who the family is that the Deathly Hollows
Yeah.
talks about. That's what this is. But if this is 100% true, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wasn't part of me is like, is this real? Is this fake? Like, is
It's
it
better to not know.
yeah. It is truly one of those things where it's
Lore.
better not knowing.
we've had a mystical trophy, and now we have a lore of two brothers who have been competitive their entire lives and decided, and they so competitive they had a barrel, which is believable that they would keep
Yeah.
their competitions, keep track of their competition tallies of their competitions, and they finally decided, hey, fuck it. We went to opposite schools. They're rivals. Let's fucking bring this barrel
Yeah.
and you can have it when your team wins and we'll bring it to the game. And then you can roll that shit to my house
Yeah. Yeah.
when you lose. And then eventually it was like, we're old as fuck. Let's give it to the schools.
Yeah.
Then officially in 2007, it became the trophy.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. That's fantastic.
If anyone from either school can tell me the name of these fine gentlemen, this family, I think it deserves to be
Yeah.
recognized and put into a rivalry trophy like Hall of Fame. To be a family that created something like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's special in my eyes.
That's it's just perfect. I mean, like that's what you're looking for.
That's what you're looking for.
Ah,
That's it.
that's the good stuff, baby.
Let's get to our rankings.
Do we want to get to our rankings or do we want to play a fun game that when we were
Okay.
getting ready here, I went ahead and I got something right. Because
Okay.
as we said last time,
Okay.
it's very difficult, like it's would be very hard for me to now with this one, obviously we've had some, what did we say last time? The difficulties that we were gonna have was choosing like let's remind all the listeners again on like how we rank things and why, right? So we rank things based on the looks of the trophy, the history of the trophy, the robbery itself, and then competitiveness. Well, as we said last time, like we just deferred for the play and we deferred on rivalry because we didn't have firsthand accounts of it, but we have had that here. Competitiveness, like, yeah, it's gonna be pretty solid for us too. But like looks in history, like that's just fucking vibes, right? So like it makes that segment not super entertaining. So what I suggested last time, which I am prepared to go through now, is you stop me when you see a better trophy. Okay? Are you ready for this?
I am. And mind you, guys, he did not tell me he was
I
actually
did
putting
not
this
tell you I was
together.
going to do this,
No,
man.
no, this is a surprise to me, and I'm excited.
Okay. All right. So let's play our fun game. All right. I'm actually going to do a page break there, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay. Can you? Oh wait, hold on. What am I sharing? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Do you see a blank page?
Uh, well, I no, I see your
Oh,
ranking of
sorry.
the Palladium.
Sorry. Okay, there we go. Do you see a blank page now?
I do
Yes.
see a blank page
Okay,
now.
great. You stop me when you see a better trophy.
Okay. So better. So we are basing this off of the victory barrel. So
Yes.
is this trophy I'm gonna see on the screen better?
Yes.
Okay.
First one's gonna be easy for you.
Definitely not.
Very hilarious that you mentioned that NC State's a land grant school. I was chuckling at myself a little bit. You sure? Like, I mean,
Yes, he is showing me the land grant trophy, which is just like a monstrosity of vomited pieces of both universities.
some would call this a work of art, but okay. All right. That was the layup. That was good.
Sorry, I'm actually yeah, okay. I probably
All
shouldn't
right.
be slandering the land
No,
grant
no.
trophy.
All right. Second trophy. The Illabuck.
Illabuck, which is also timely for this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you meant to do that.
I did. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. It's not of the collective, but damn, that's a good looking trophy. It just
Is it?
doesn't have enough of the other components of our ranking.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Two more.
Okay.
The old oaken
Mm.
bucket. Had to pull out the bucket.
Oh man. I mean, the bucket, the
Mm-hmm.
bucket. It's
Because
the
there's some similarities here.
it's there's a lot of similarities
Uh-huh.
here. Um, well, shit. Should have saved this one for last. Um, okay, so let me think through, let me talk through what I'm thinking so it's not just in my head. I am thinking aesthetically, they're very similar in the
Hmm.
sense the barrel is much larger, the bucket
Hmm.
is much smaller than you'd think. Um, I think the eyes and the P's, the chain linked eyes and P's for the old oaken bucket is iconic. I
Hmm.
think that's also an awesome thing to do, and it's now there's so many of them that like drags like a wedding gown. The history is well established to be
Hmm.
very intense rivals, and the schools prominence for both rivalries, right? All four schools are they're pretty even, to be honest,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So it's not like you have powerhouses, and no, they're all pretty, um, not very successful football wise. So I'm trying to remember the history. So the history of the old oaken bucket
Yeah,
was
let me walk through the history real
okay.
quick. Two guys
Yeah.
got told, "Hey, we need a trophy,"
Yeah.
and they woke up and they're like, "Oh crap, it's due today. We need the trophy
Yeah,
today."
that's right.
So they drove out to the pastures of Indiana and found allegedly an old Civil War bucket that was used to feed some general's horse and Captain Andrew Luck's horse, and then yeah, that's how we got here. So
Yeah, and I
first,
remember them thinking like at the time we need something similar to the little brown jug. I remember
yep,
that was like a
mhm,
part
yep,
of
yep,
the
yep.
history. Damn it. I'm gonna have to say because now mind you, if the this is based on lore. So this that there's established history and there's lore. And I'm going to rate them equally. And because of that, I'm going to say that that trophy is not as good as the victory barrel.
All right, so we're
But it is
going.
literally down to the history.
No, to be clear, I'm with you. I'm
Well,
not
I know
stopping.
you are because it was the bucket. We all remember your reaction
I
to
was
the
too
state of
harsh. I was too
Indiana
harsh.
being
I went back and looked at my rankings. I was way too harsh that episode, but I was also loaded. But okay, last one. Last one. This is
okay.
gonna be hard. This is intentionally hard.
Don't do it. Oh,
Hawk.
that thing. Okay. Well, here's the deal. That thing is that the most
This is
the
the current iteration of the Cyhawk. Yes.
yeah, okay. So everything about the Cyhawk is awesome beside the trophies, right?
I like
They
the trophy. I like this trophy.
this
I should have
one,
done the the original Cyhawk.
but
Yeah.
but that's the point is like the one before this was the shitty corporate version,
Hmm.
and because this is corporate, that's where I'm hesitant. I think everything
Mm.
else about Cyhawk is awesome. It's a week-long like festival
Yes.
essentially,
And how it
which is
started too, the guys in the bowling league, the alumni
yes.
in the bowling beer league, like yeah.
It's awesome. It's a game. It's two programs that have had very similar success in power conferences. Obviously, Ames is or Iowa City is famous, right? Kinnick Stadium is very famous, and the wave and everything. So I would say everything. And the only thing that's like holding me back is just the when it turned corporate.
Hmm.
That trophy was horrific. And even this one, it's much better, but it still has that corporate aspect of it that I don't love as much as two brothers wheeling a barrel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to stick with the victory barrel here, but it was damn close. I
Uh,
think the bucket was much closer for me.
yeah, I after the way you talked it out, I wish I would have flipped them. That probably would have been the right thing to do. But yeah. Yeah, so we will do this. I
Oof,
didn't do Floyd
oof.
because it's tough, right? But I did go back. I looked at, our old rankings and stuff like that, and that's kind of how, I pulled this stuff together. So
I
now
also
on a weekly basis, we can go through and we can do that. So
I also did not when you were talking about that, I thought we were always going to be judging it based off the one we just did. That way is way better.
yeah.
the way
Yeah.
you just did it. That was
Yeah.
not what I was envisioning when you talked about this initially.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
No.
we'll so what we'll do is I'll think about how we'll do it going forward. Like, because
Okay.
we're not gonna use the same four every time. Like some,
No.
Old Oak and Bucket may make an appearance again. Cyhawk may make an appearance again. But yeah, we'll do that and we'll go through and I'll select a couple. And we'll keep doing that segment because I think it's gonna be again this season. I think there's gonna be a lot of situations. This is an exception where we have really good, insight into the rivalry from people
Yeah.
who know it.
Yep.
But I think there's gonna be a lot of situations where we just don't.
Yep.
And yeah. So that'll be a nice little segment that we'll have going forward. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this one was unique. I think even if we went back to the Palladium, I don't know that I would have made the same decisions.
yeah, well,
I think the history, knowing that this is a really bitter rivalry, and then that lore of Captain Andrew Luck just read to us, I think that's what really stuck with me. But I
yeah,
don't think that'll be the case every time.
yeah. So we will do I'll switch up the conferences. I'll go kind of based on our composite rankings. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So
Would you change anything?
oh, good question. I wasn't prepared for this. I should be because you ask me every time.
What I would say is a part of me was underwhelmed by a barrel, right?
Mhm.
Initially, gut reaction was it's a barrel. There's a few other barrels, right?
Mhm.
Even in this case, it's not even a tobacco barrel, right? Which would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think after hearing about how the lore is told on how the trophy came to be about, I don't have changes.
Yeah, with the lore in mind, I don't think I would necessarily want to change anything. Because even like, if you did like notches instead of plaques, I don't think that works as well. And I wouldn't paint it, like other than it is
Mhm.
painted now. Like it
Yeah,
isn't other than painting the NC State and ECU on the lid, it's just a wooden barrel. So, and you've seen, there's some barrels out there that they paint half of it, right? So,
right.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that here.
All right. Well, this game will be played tomorrow night after taping at 7 p.m. We talked about it Thursday on the ACC network. It's going to be at Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh again. And NC State is opened at 12 and a half point favorites. I'm not sure where they're at now. I actually didn't look.
I'll take a look.
Honestly, this is a game where I really don't know much about either school. So 12 and a half and a rivalry game. I'm going to guess you can't push the number too big in a rivalry game, especially first game of the year. There's going to just be a lot of sloppiness in general. Um, so I it's at home, so it's down to 11 and a half now.
Well,
I'm probably going to err on the side of ECU covering, not necessarily winning, but just a
yeah,
rivalry game, sloppy. Just working out the kinks, right? Everyone does those first couple weeks, like the
yeah,
NFL as well. So that's where my gut would go. But I
yep. I'm with
admittedly
you.
don't know much about either school.
I'm with you. I think 11 and a half is a lot of points for the first game of the season. And I think it's a down year for NC State too. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
The only other thing is, I feel like we got to touch on it. I forgot to put it in the notes, which I need to make sure I do because it was probably more appropriate to talk to us at the beginning. But the big news out of the SEC, which
Hmm.
I I can understand from both standpoints, like why they did it and how that could be annoying. But at the same time, I think water will find its level. But if you guys don't know yet, the SEC officially passed bylaws that require each school to them to have 9 conference games. So that's always been a big criticism of the conference. The conference would say the conference is so good that we don't want to have 9 because it'd be a disadvantage. Everyone else disagrees and says you guys shouldn't be playing FCS schools in November. Right is usually where that extra game always falls, and it's always FCS schools. Um, I will say, and so that was one. That's great. That's surprising. Two is that they are now required to have at least one non-conference game against a Power Five opponent. So what that means is I will say, and I think I texted you. Obviously, you're an SEC guy. Alabama has never been an issue in my eyes with that because they have always, even though they've had that FCS school, they have always, at least since Saban, had a very good non-con game,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it's been, you know, national contenders. Other times it's been even Wisconsin. Even doing the Wisconsin thing, even though Wisconsin is down right now, is
Mhm.
still respectable in my eyes.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah. Well,
a
because
traditional
you don't know.
programs,
But
right?
when you schedule it out, you have no
Right.
idea what they're going to be like at the time. Yeah.
So I there are schools, right? Like Georgia has always had Georgia Tech, which now is starting to get a bit of risky. South Carolina's had Clemson, so there has been some, but the fact that they now have to keep those, which some of those will be great because one, it'll be rivalries that get kept. Louisville, Kentucky, like that's awesome. But
Hmm.
two, now they don't get that. They don't get that extra little thing in November. And
Hmm.
even if it's Vandy, it's still a conference game. So I have big thoughts, but I'm really curious to hear what yours are.
No, I think it's great. I think it's important that that news comes at the same time that the uh, CFP committee says that they're going to take into account strength of schedule
Mhm.
and weigh strength of schedule more heavily because like you wouldn't do that. Yeah, you wouldn't. Greg Sankey wouldn't have made that decision if I'm sure without talking to the committee and without getting some assurances from the committee that, like, look, strength of schedule will be more important, right? Because if the most important thing is just winning the most games, then yeah, I have no reason to stop scheduling the Citadel and Mercer and all these slackjaw teams out there that like you can just power over, right? So it's great. It gives us more meaningful football games. It's an opportunity to protect cross conference rivalries, and it's great for us as viewers of the sport and fans of the sport. So yeah, I'm thrilled about it.
And I will just say, from a fan of a non-SEC school, like this is finally the time to put up or shut up, right? So there's always this like talk about how much better the SEC is, and while it is obviously undeniably better at the top, there are just always questions about the middle to the bottom, whether or not it is truly that much better than other conferences. And this is their chance. And I think while the SEC is assuming that this is going to give them more automatic bids, it'll be interesting because I
Yeah,
think there's going to be a lot more cannibalism,
yeah.
and it's going to be a lot harder to just say, oh, well, it's because everyone's like, you always get, even this year again, like Ole Miss and Tennessee being preseason ranked in top 25s. Like, you sure about that?
No, I'm
And
certainly not.
and it's like, so I think this is good. And while I know my mind is like, fuck yes, this means that Ole Miss is gonna go to Iowa. No, it probably means everyone's gonna be fighting to go to Evanston and play Northwestern. You're
Yeah,
gonna start
yeah,
to get like
yeah.
Boston colleges and Stanfords and stuff. All of a sudden, get a bunch of like, hey, what are you
Yeah,
guys
and then
doing?
all of a sudden, yeah, you start becoming the prettiest girl in school. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think overall it's gonna be good. I think this is obviously gonna put the SEC as the best to the test, and
I,
if they
I
are, then prove it.
I thought you were going full Herb Brooks there. I am sick and tired of hearing how good the Soviets are. Screw them.
Yeah. No, I think this is
Sick
awesome.
and
Well, for
tired.
everything you said, it's gonna result in quality football. Now, whether it's gonna be annoying for other conferences as far as the SEC getting too many automatic bids, I think that's just gonna mean that the preseason rankings are gonna mean less and less. I think it's just
It,
water's gonna find its level, right? Where
yeah.
even if SEC then gets these boosts of strength of schedule, then they're gonna question, like other conferences are gonna put to question how that started at the beginning of seasons, and it'll eventually level out. And I think we're going to be the beneficiaries of it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's going to be, they're just trying to avoid situations like what happened the first round last year, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I think this is a good step in that direction. Um, and at the very least, it is going to, even if it doesn't guarantee the playoffs get more interesting, it's definitely going to make the regular season more
Yeah.
interesting. So, I'll take that.
Yeah. Okay. The only other thing we need to talk about quickly, just a little housekeeping, is Pick'em. Pick'em's back.
Hmm.
Pick'em challenge is now back. We had our teaser. We gave you guys a couple of picks, just because we were thinking about it. I'm sure everyone that's listening to this placed bets this last weekend because, of course, you did. So we thought we'd throw it out. Nailed both of them, which was awesome. Not likely to continue, but we're going to enjoy it as we had it. But we are going to bring back our Pick'em challenge, and not only do we have a nice little graphic that we're going to post, so don't fret if you don't remember all of this, because we added one new wrinkle. And this is also a spot I just want to encourage listeners that have listened but have not participated. You've got nothing to lose. Participate. Everyone is great. Everyone is bad. Everyone has terrible weeks. Some people are better and worse, but you have a chance at a free bottle of whiskey within reason and some free swag. So do it. It's a lot of fun. We love doing it. It gets you locked in. It's almost like the fantasy football aspect, right?
Hmm.
You start to
Hmm.
pay attention to schools and games that you never would. But let me just go over with you guys the old rules, just a reminder, and then we've added a new rule that I think you guys are going to like. So remember, spreads only, no money line, no totals, pure adrenaline, like we have in our nice little post that we'll give. You get three picks every week, three spread picks that you love. For every win that you get a point. Basically, at the end of the season, the person with the most points wins a bottle of whiskey. So if you beat Mike, or if it's one of Mike or I, we win. Pod wins.
Hmm.
If it's one of you lucky listeners, which happened 2 years ago, Mike,
Hmm.
you won last year, but
Yep.
our Willie won 2 years ago. Then you get a bottle of your choosing within reason, and then some cool swag. But here's our wrinkles. So you guys are familiar with the first one. It's our biscuit bet. So if there's a game that you love that's happening before a Saturday, so if it's on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, you can make it your risk it for the biscuit play. So if you win it, you get that 1 point plus you get to make your other three picks like normal. But if you lose, you do not get any points for that pick, and you only get to pick one other game. So it is definitely a high risk, high reward play. The new pick, the new wrinkle that we are adding to this year is our DFIU favorite. And we'll get into that acronym in a minute. But if you pick a favorite of 14 or more points and they lose outright, you lose 1 point from your weekly total. If they're 21 point or more favorites and they lose outright, you lose 3 points. If they are 28 or more point favorites and they lose outright, you lose everything. All of the above. You lose all of your points that week and you lose all of your picks the next week. So don't F, don't mess it up. So
Don't
don't
mess it.
F it up. DFIU.
Yeah.
So this just gives you a little extra thing to think about when you're like, hey, Bama's gonna roll Mercer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Notre Dame,
Right?
NIU, not a problem. I don't have to worry about that. Certainly the Irish will cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that quarterback that we still can't even pronounce
I
his
mean,
name?
UNLV.
Pavia? I
Yeah.
don't know. That was one of those
Yeah.
instances, right?
Yeah.
21 or more.
It doesn't happen a lot where
No.
a 28-point favorite loses outright. But my goodness, if it does, we want to make sure that there are appropriate
There are
penalties for that.
consequences.
So,
There are
yes,
consequences. But
there are
hey, we've
consequences.
all picked. I mean, I'm looking at a 14 or more favorite person for my
That
my
that
next week.
happens quite frequently.
Right. So
Yes.
when you start to
Yes.
think, man, is this team going to lose outright? Am I going to get a minus point here? It's
Yeah.
just going to make you think. So it's a
Yeah.
nice little wrinkle for us this year, but we're excited. So That's gonna do it for us. That's gonna do it for this week. Please follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And like I just mentioned, join our Pick'em Challenge. It starts this week. It's very exciting. It's very easy. Just DM us if you already done this. You already know the process. DM us. If you have not done this before, just DM us your 3 picks. Make sure they're in before games start on Saturday at noon. Obviously, if you have a biscuit play, it needs to be put in before the game is played, whatever day it is, and make sure you use the FanDuel lines. So, not that we're sponsors here, that's what Mike and I use, and it's easy. There are different spreads for different
Different
books.
books. Yeah.
So it's just easier for us if we just all go, but you can bet on whatever one you want. But for the challenge itself, please use the FanDuel lines so that we can verify the lines and make sure that people are, cheating, which no one has tried to do, but obviously you can if obviously half points can make all the difference. So join us next week when we talk about the battle for I-10. For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything's bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.